Hello. Welcome back. Mr. Landfill, good to see you. Sorry I'm running a little bit late today. Oh god, I'm sorry to hear your air troubles and weather troubles continue. Air quality being so bad. Yeah, that's obviously Canadian wildfires. They're having even more fun than we are with our fires. Yeah, it is rough when you've got rubbish air quality. But hopefully the weather might improve for you, and a bit of rain will take it out, both the fire and the dust and smog and ash and all the rest that's floating around for you. Hey Finn, how you doing? I don't think we need to be looking at my stream starting soon sign at the minute, do we? Let's switch you over to what we're going to have a look at least to start today. I've got a couple of things that, depending on how we go. I'm glad you're back from Europe. I hope you had a good time. We're going to start with something basic. We're going to do a deck. I know we spent a bit of time playing with middle and lower layer stuff earlier this week. I've got a lot of decks in my collection, so we're going to do a deck to start with. And then, depending on how we get on with it and how long it takes, I'm going to have a look at this. And I think this should be a single pseudo, but one there and what looks like there might be a second one, and yeah, I know pseudos tend to be broken, so that could well be part of that one, but that's an interesting potential, because if it's two pseudos in a block that aren't from Raven's car, it would be very unusual, because you don't tend to find two pseudo-Lyoceros Litents in blocks. You find pseudo-Lyoceros Pulpiens in blocks together, but not often the other one, so we'll have a look at that one afterwards. I say, talking of fires, surely I haven't seen how the fires are doing over your neck of the woods. Hopefully they are settling down as well. Everything's on fire. It's just a bad time of year, it would be, for everybody. Alright, so yeah, let's get cracking with some prep. You guys feel free to keep talking, keep pestering, keep asking questions of me. More than happy to chat as and when I can. Yeah, we will see how we get on with the deck, and then how we get on with whatever else we get to. Right, so yeah, sorry, just doing a quick swap over of tips. Struggling to do very much. This is really solid matrix, and I don't know if you can see, they look to be some little tiny nodes, so it's probably a Paranoceros rather than a deck, but it is really hard, this stuff. Surprisingly so, because I thought it was going to crumble a lot easier based on the top bits, but it's classic Paranoceros, super pyritic stuff. I don't know where this nodule came from. It's been sat in a box. It's labeled prep kit / chemicals, which, you know, is the best sort of place to find one of your fossils that you don't know where it belongs to. I suspect Sans End based on one of the other things that's in with it. But it's going very slowly. I'm running a bit late today because I've been doing life admin. Some people might have seen posted on Instagram or my Facebook. Was out on a tour yesterday. And then, yeah, it's just been trying to organize and do lots of things. Yeah, I do love when you're also prepping a deck and it turns out not a deck, it's something more exciting. They're good surprises. But yeah, this morning's been a bit chaotic doing admin because I've also confirmed my place in the London Marathon for next year, which, if you've ever met me, you'll look at me and go, holy crap, he is not a long distance runner, and you would be correct. But I'm going to be doing it for the National Trust, who own an awful lot of the land around Yorkshire where we fossil hunt, including most of Port Mulgrave and Ravenscar and bits of Providence Bay and Boggle Hole and all the rest. So I thought it would be appropriate to try and raise some money for them. So I'll be doing some giveaways and some fossil tours and stuff for charity. So if people are keen, please keep an eye out for those. And if you've got a few pounds with spare, I will put up a link, not today, but at some point, to help reach my goal, because it'd be nice if we can generate some funds. But also, if you don't know and if you're not from the Yorkshire area and you're more interested in the southern stuff, pretty much the entire section from Lyme Regis all the way to I think it's even east of Ypres, like all that whole section on the south coast, also National Trust land, and huge chunks of the famous southern coasts of the Isle of Wight where the fossils are all National Trust land. So yeah, it's a big deal for the fossil hunting community, the National Trust, even if people don't realize. And so yeah, that's what I'll be doing it for, because why shouldn't we support the people who look after the land that we get our fossils from? But yeah, keep an eye out for that down the line. But yeah, there's been a lot of admin-y things this morning that have just taken a lot of time, so I'm running a bit late. But yeah, we'll keep prepping, and I'll try and keep the yapping down to a minimum. But please keep chucking in comments and questions and stuff. And yeah, as I said, just keep an eye out, because there will be various bits of fundraising, whether it's just please send me some money, or giving away some fossils that come from some of the National Trust areas. So there'll be some Port Mulgrave stuff, some Ravenscar stuff, but also a couple of guided tours out to some of those locations on the behalf of National Trusts fundraising, that not on their specific behalf. They have nothing to do with it other than they'll take the money. But yeah, it's me doing it, not the National Trust, but on their behalf. Yeah, yeah, we'll get back to prepping. The yapping is probably the most competent part, so I'm very good at yapping. I'm not great at prepping, so it also works that way around as well. I will also say, and it's come up a few times before, if you want me to keep yapping or want to ask questions to keep me yapping, that is the way to do it. Ask the questions about anything and everything to do with the fossils and stuff I've done before and all the rest. More than happy to talk about it. And I would ideally prefer it doesn't detour too far off of the fossil world. But yeah, always happy to talk, and yeah, it does save me from having to do some more terrible prep. So yeah. The honest answer is I have never collected a red car. I'm told it's relatively straightforward to collect that. There's a submerged or fossil forest there, which is, I think, Pleistocene-ish in age. And then you get a lot of lower lias bits coming out there. The Sclothemia, I think, are the sort of things that you see a lot of from up that way. There will be better guides online than I can provide information for directly, Finn, so I apologise on that behalf. There are some sections up the north, so north of Stays, I've really never really visited. It's on the list: Bowlby, Skinning Grove, Redcar. But I know there is, or there are a few people who regularly hunt up that way, and they seem to get quite a lot of multi-blocks of various things. Euagasaurus and that sort of age. So it's basically the same stuff as you find in sort of the middle of Robinets Bay, as far as I'm aware. But yeah, I'm told it's easy enough to do. It's fairly easy to get down to the beach. Again, I'm told. And then yeah, it just depends on how hunted it has been. That is always the question this time of year. The 3rd to the 7th of August is going to be peak tourist season, so it might be a bit busy. But at the same time, you never know. You're not going to find anything sat at home or in the hotel, so you might as well get out. And if you want to go explore Redcar, that's as good a time as any if you're there. I have to say, Finn, I love prospecting. I think there's an odd thing about prospecting that sometimes it's really difficult to keep concentration if you're wandering around and find absolutely nothing for days. And I have done that in the field when we've been looking for new dinosaur locations, and we didn't know if there'd be anything there. But all it takes is that one find, and it does keep you going. But yeah, it's hard work to keep fully motivated if you spent 3, 4, 5 days finding nothing. But at least in the Yorkshire coast, if you found nothing at Redcar, for example, you could pop anywhere south of there, and you're pretty much guaranteed to find something. So just a bust or what was striking out, whatever you want to call getting nothing. It's a one day, oh well, and you can go somewhere else and pick up a bag full the next day without too many difficulties. I was going to say, I'm pretty sure Finn knows his way around Yorkshire as well, but I might be wrong. I mean, there you go, blanks, yeah, is the appropriate descriptor, and he doesn't get very many blanks, Matt, but yeah. I don't know about Wren's Nest. Could well be in Shropshire. It does sound familiar, but I do not have my phone out to Google things, unfortunately, at this point. But yeah, definitely there's loads of sites around the country, depending on what your interests are. That's kind of the joy. We're very lucky with our rocks here in the UK. We basically go from the Cambrian, well, in fact pre-Cambrian, but Cambrian, all the way through to modern in terms of fossils you can find. It just depends what your interests are, how much of it is likely to be around, and so you can pretty much find it all somewhere. But the odds of finding good things are obviously diminished by the fact that a lot of our quarries are now closed, and we are in the UK where we tend to have lush green countryside, which does not help with finding fossils where you need a lot of rock exposure, and that is one of the fun things with the UK, is we're blessed with often too much rain. Not at the minute, I appreciate, but it means that we have green countryside, and it means we have very few rock exposures except on our coastlines and in our quarries. And so whatever's on the coast is what we are limited to for the most part. So it's a bit of a fun one. when it comes to looking for things, an awful lot of it is trial and error. So if you're looking at new prospecting locations, finding river sites or coastal sites, or speaking nicely to farmers and people's land, Essies are Esserises. If I've got that, if I can remember, that's why they all call them Essies. It's kind of a pain in them, but to pronounce Esserises. But yeah, it's it takes a lot of going, and there are some places that I know, even in the Cotswolds, some of the layers within like centimeters of each other vary horrifically in terms of preservation. They go from like rotten middles and really sandy preservation to really lovely in that like centimeter, 2 centimeters, for no obvious reason, but obviously there's some preservation difference. It's not always clear when you just sat looking at it why it should change so quickly. Obviously something in the environment back then did change. The thing I would always recommend is speaking to local collectors if you happen to know of any, or go speak to the museums. Even if they're your local museums, you'll be surprised how many of even the ones that you wouldn't expect to have rock collections do have some knowledge, or can point you at some people. Even if it's, again, the local museum, there's a single old collector or whatever it happens to be, you'll be surprised how many are connected to someone who knows about the fossils in your area. And there are very few areas in the areas south of Scotland that have no fossils. So it's just trying to find the connections. The other one to do is have a look at local rock collecting groups, the Geological Survey, all of those sort of things sometimes have really useful things to just have a look at. And sometimes it's speak to your little universities, your museums. It's the easiest place to start. Or equally, have a check if there's a Facebook group if you're on Facebook, because I know Yorkshire's got 2 big Facebook groups, but I know there's several others. I know there are ones equivalent for Dorset, and there'll be ones for, I'm sure, Cotswolds, and probably places where you find your trilobites and all the rest. So just keep an eye out and have a bit of an explore. There'll be information. The UK Fossils website, I always recommend just as a brief starting point. Google's also your friends for having a look if there's any fossils from towns and stuff, because there's sometimes old publications on things that have been found, and you'll find that there's often old quarry sites or river sites that have been picked. And yes, as I'm assuming that, as Jason said, that the sites are all built over and often destroyed, and very much the case with coal things and old quarry sites. But even in Wales, there will be information. You'll be surprised, but yes, it does involve a lot of work. And I know a few of the Cotswold collectors quite well, and they do an awful lot of dirty work, from like prospecting new locations and wandering fields and speaking to farmers. There's a lot of work has to go into finding new locations, especially in some of the more shall we say inland green bits. And HR. But yeah, a lot of it is dirty prospecting work, and so it's just it is the time, it's the effort, and even if it's just Google, sometimes that is a surprisingly abundant resource, even if it's just to point you at locations where stuff was found that you can then use as a starting point. But I can't say I know very much of the Welsh fossils, although that being said, I think Shirley had suggested that there's some geological museums, so that'll depend a little bit on where you are. I think she's up near, or was saying they're up near Anglesey, so that probably is not that helpful if you're much further south. but equally Cardiff will probably have some useful resources. I know they've got, again, some old quarries down on the south sections, which are all Triassic region sort of stuff where the dinosaur comes from. It'll just take some time to figure it out. So if they're behind paywalls, let me figure out the correct way to phrase this, that I'm not encouraging you to look at Sci-Hub. But Sci-Hub is a very, very naughty website that definitely doesn't give you access to all papers before like 2025. It might be 2015, but you'd have to have a quick look. But of course you can't have a look because it's very naughty and you shouldn't do it. But I would never encourage piracy. I'm from the Caribbean. I know the downsides of piracy. It's definitely nothing to do with rum and all the rest. But equally, there are various groups on Facebook and what was Twitter that used to be like Icon has PDF and some crazy awful names, but effectively you can ask for PDFs of certain things, and people will often have copies. Equally, most libraries can get them as well for you if you go to them. But again, I do appreciate it is a lot of dirty work to try and get stuff, and it is a lot of effort and a lot of faff, but it depends on what you're after. If you're really desperate to find something local, that's what you got to do. If you're in an area that's not well talked about in general, the lazy option is then get out of where you are and come fossil hunt where we know there's stuff already, and that is also a valid option, and I don't begrudge anyone who chooses that one as well. sorry, brief interlude. I'm just wiping down my glass in the box. It seems to have collected a lot of dust, and I was finding it a bit challenging to see things. So this is where we're at the minute. Slowly working in. The matrix is super sticky, so there's a lot of very stuck on matrix still to be removed at the top here, and getting down to mouth border down here. But we'll see how it goes. It's just very slow at the minute.
too high. Be sure to keep the ground in sight. Fly forever if you keep it tight. Love the world, but keep the sky on your mind.
Well, that's a bust. Annoyingly, I mean, I guess a plus side, I didn't spend too much longer on it, but spent too long to get to that point to find out it's a bust. So when I was coming around, this bit of whirl here was missing. I was like, uh-oh, that's not good. But then it continued, and then got around to the equivalent spot, the next whirl down, and it just disappeared. So something has nibbled it, or it's exploded at some point, but yeah. no middle. Nothing we can do about that. Can sometimes find them on the other side, but I'm not going to spend the effort to prep the reverse of that, at least not at the minute. That's probably going to get a hammer at some point and just see. But yeah, that'll do for now on that one. We'll have a look at this thing, because I'm intrigued by this one. This is one that you cannot see with it where I plunked it, but yeah, it's at least a single pseudo, if not multiple, and that is the question: is how many there are and what type are they? And I don't have a good answer at this point in time. My suspicion is that it's just a single pseudo Lyostris litens that's gotten very broken and disarticulated, and so we're seeing a bit of it. Sorry, I'll show you. So I'm busy just trying to change over tips at the same time I'm talking and not doing a great job, but right. So this is the innermost whorl here, and then there's what looks like another one here, and I believe they're pseudo, or it's a pseudo if not multiple, but this whorl here does look like it belongs to another one. This one would wrap around and would have come up higher, but it's gone, whereas this thing looks like it does belong to one that's deeper to it, which would be very cool, because pseudos, the litens ones, the earlier ones, tend to only be singles, and I think this nodule is from Sans End, just again because it's in a box filled with Sans End bits as well as my chemicals, so I'm hoping that's where it's from, because that will definitely help narrow it down and make it more interesting. If it's from Raven Scar and in the wrong box, then it could easily be Bulbience, and that wouldn't be out of place to get two in a nodule, but we'll see. And so we'll get prepping on it. Sorry, brief technical pause because a little tiny bit just chipped off, and so I'm seeing if I can get that back on whilst not sticking myself to it. Not always a given. But yeah, Finn, glad to hear that you're actually getting your box slowly figured out. It is a bit of a challenge to get it right, and as I've said a few times, the box that I designed, which is not perfect. There's a lot of things I would change to it to do it again, but that is part of it. I am very envious of the people who have the other sets of tools required to do the handiwork to build the things. I know people like Trevor have built a lot of their own prep tools as well, not just their prep setups, but like the actual tools that they're using, or at least help modify old ones to make them into what they need. Very envious of the people with those sort of skills, because I do not have them, nor do I have even the basic tools to start doing a lot of the stuff that I would like to do. So yeah, it's good that you're doing it, and I hope that it works out well the first time around, and if not, you've learned, and then next time, hopefully it's even better. Yeah, I've been calling these pseudos and looking at them. I do wonder if they're actually two Ellies. It's probably more likely. Just a bit of an odd nodule for Ellies, and that's why I'm just a bit confused. Definitely not one of those very solid pyrite nodules, and it's just a bit odd. But it's been rocking around a long time, wherever it was. It's got none of the outer pyrite core. So yeah, I've been calling them pseudos. I'm no longer convinced of pseudos. I think it might be Ellies the more I look at them, but. Yeah, we'll get down to it and see what we're looking at. Finn, that sounds very much like mine. At least, not when I say mine. It's my shed has got a lot of my tools, and that does sound like my toolkit. Not what my prep box is made out of. I got my mother-in-law's partner made it for me, and he has a lot more skills and has a much more talented handyman than I. So yeah. Yeah, no worries, Charlie. Good to see you back. Hope you've managed to get everything sorted you need to get sorted. But nice to hear that you've also managed to get your box, or at least the glass bit for your box sorted. And yeah, I have no doubt getting all your 90 degrees done whilst not having, I can't even think of the correct tool, but the saw that produces an angle saw? No, I don't know. The one that you can get like a 45-degree angles and put them together and to make your life a lot easier. Otherwise you're just cutting 90 degrees and just bonking them in, which I would think would work as well. I think it depends how fancy you want to get. Is it a mitre that cuts those angles? Maybe that's what it is. As I said, not my forte. I spent far too many years playing in academia and not enough years playing in a in a workshop. So I'm a little behind and still trying to figure half this stuff out. So yeah, now a bit of an interesting debate. I'm assuming they're LEs because they definitely look like LEs now, and Matrix is really silly hard, but they've also got no keel as far as I can see, which you'd expect for a pseudo, and they don't look wavy enough to be a clevy. So yeah, let's call them LEs now. So then next thought was, okay, let's pretend. I say pretend, it doesn't really matter. How are we going to present them? Because we've got one here and we've got this one on the other side, so obviously we need to expose this one, and I don't think this is going to be the highlight, but I don't know. And because you could prep it from this side, have this one visible to the back, but I think that one has the potential to be a bigger, better one. So should we prep it from the other side? And that might be a better option, and then have it that way around. So that is the question, and so that's what I think I might do, is have a quick prep from the other way and have a look what we can find. There is another one here, but we'll have to just see as we go in what's where and how many there are, because knowing LE blocks, there could be a bit like the Dremel blocks, quite a few in there. They usually, not always, usually are all in the same plane at least. Didn't really talk about the trip yesterday, surely, but it was a good trip. Mum and her 3 kids came out for a jolly. We went to Port Mulgrave. I take the tours down generally a little later than I would go down personally. That's just to give us a bit more time for things to dry out and be a bit safer on the beach for everyone to walk around on and not be quite so close to the cliffs. But by the time we got down to Port Mulgrave, obviously some people had gone down before us, and so there were 4 others already at where I would consider the better fossil hunting grounds. So we could see them from the old port itself, and so we went north towards Staithes and yeah, found quite a few bits and pieces. Lots of ammonites. Some split well, most did not, but some did. And so we got a few that they got to take home. I posted on Instagram and Facebook if people are interested to see. You'll tell the ones that split well because they're all wrapped up in tape. So they got quite a few little ones that they could take home. All the kids got some that they found themselves, which is great. They all then had some fun rock pooling and looking at all the anemones and fish and crabs. And then when we got back to the actual port, they were skipping some stones, and then a seal swam in to figure out what was going on with the splashing, I think, and it saw very quickly it was not fish, and then skedoodled again. But it was nice to see a bit of everything. Everyone had a good time, and it was a nice tour, and the sun came out, which was always nice without it being outrageously hot. So yeah, it was a good trip. It's a game of glues today. So yeah, a little bit. This little one has just come off. It's only I think going to be a partial at best anyway. But it's just whether or not it will add anything by being back here. And my suspicion is not really, just because of the fact that this whirl's already broken. That's what it's just having to stop and have a look at. Yeah, surprised that actually popped, but it's just because that's where the ammonite was. And whilst I do like keeping my fossils original and not modifying them and removing things where I can help it, that one I don't think adds anything and is just going to be a pain in the ass, excuse the language, to get down through. No idea if it's going to become relevant. I hope not, but so the little bit that broke off popped off down here, and it looks like it's sitting on a natural weakness running through the rock. It runs all the way across there out the back, and then you can see that's where this is opening up. So I've just put a blob of glue in it to hopefully get down and into the crack a little bit. I need to get some super runny super glue to get it in a bit better in some of these places, so that the glue travels down the little cracks before it dries. Some of this is probably a bit too thick, so it doesn't go as far, doesn't penetrate into the cracks as well as I would probably need it to. But I don't necessarily need it to stop every single opening. I need it to stop going all the way through. I don't mind if some of the top bits come off, that's kind of ideal. But we're getting relatively close now. So we've removed an awful lot of overburden. It's probably the wrong term, but effectively overburden. And so we've got the ammonite sitting at around this height. So we've got probably where this crack is, that sort of height to get down to get it exposed. There's not going to be a lot of rock left, which could make it interesting. Might be a mistake to remove too much, but I probably need to at this point start burrowing in just to this area to see if I can find the ammonite rather than doing the whole rock, and then that gives me a bit of flexibility on how I want to shape the rock later, because looking at where this one is sat, we're not going to see an awful lot of it from the other side, so probably want to keep bits so this is a nice shape on this side, maybe expose a little bit more of this one, but this side probably have like a nice little bowl around, is what I'm thinking. And that's what I need to do more of when I'm prepping, is think about what it's going to look like at the end, not just how to get it out. So yeah, I think this area here in the middle is in particular need of looking at, and so that's what we'll do. If the glue catches dirt and dust and all the rest, not a problem. We can always prep it off later if we need to. But at the minute I'd rather it just was there soaking slowly and surely into those cracks to hopefully stop it all splitting down the middle as we go. That's what I was trying to stop happening. Ugh, crap. Almost on cue, as if I knew it was about to happen, and then instantly. Give me a second just to quickly see if I can get all the debris out and see if this will go back together cleanly. One of those things, is a certain charm that you can predict what's going to happen, but not ideal when you predict it being a failure and you try and stop it and it still happens. That's the worst of every combination. And it remains one of the great mysteries of life of how you can manage to achieve such a break and then it doesn't actually go back together cleanly. So, there we go. So yeah, annoyingly now it means that there's going to be a tiny crack through this one. It more or less has gone around the smaller one, but very frustrating that it was. I saw it starting to happen. Thought I might have done it in time to not have it happen, but needed to let the glue dry more before I started poking. That's on me. Just typical how I managed to time that. So you're going to have a few minutes of me just holding a rock as, as it dries out. But yeah, unfortunately, this one might have now got to the point that it needs a resin fix, and I don't really want to do that. We'll have to see if it will stay together with super glue. I might also just have to take off the chisel tip and try get it with a point, which will be less aggressive, hopefully. I'm just going to plunk it to the side for a second whilst that dries out a bit more fully. Just going to knock the top of this bit of rock off this little tiny Hyundai. It's been sat in the box for a while, obviously started to prep it at some point but didn't get very far, so yeah, we'll just clear this corner up whilst the LE block dries out a bit more. I might have to give up today. It's going to be one of those days where I just break everything, it looks like. Oh, Christ. Where'd that bit go? There. Ay. It's about as bad a day as I've had in a long time with that. Clearly just need to turn everything down a little bit and be a bit more patient, but yikes. That's not Not good. Wreck-It Ralph is not a term I really want to get called. Yeah. That is no bueno. So yeah, it goes back together, but I need to try and avoid doing that, clearly. Maybe it's also just a sign that it's gonna be one of those days, and maybe it is time to just put the pen down for a second and go do something else. But it's a bit of a shame if that's the case. But yeah, at least that one's gone back together reasonably well. Yeah, I was just thinking, having told everyone I'll just pop that top off, and it came off really nicely. I was like, oh, figured it all out on a roll. Nope. Nope, nope, nope. Ay, ay, ay. Slightly gutted about that one. Man. Yeah. Let's just change over to the point and just see where we're at. And see if it's just, if it goes again, then yeah, it's definitely time to put it all away for its safety and the fact that I'm going to just bring out the hammer and smack it if it breaks again, because at that point I don't think there's going to be much saving. Yeah, disappointing. I thought I'd figured out all of my problems. I thought I was seeing them in advance. I thought I was being clever. A thought. And that's probably the most dangerous thing I can do, is be thinking. No one needs that. Alright, let's have a look and see if this will prep any better on the back with a point rather than the chisel. And if not, oh, hey ho. Yep, just gonna put it down, walk away for the day, because that's poor. Clearly need to swamp it in a lot of glue, because that's just a nothing. Right? It's disappointing that. So yeah, I'm gonna put some more glue on it. Gonna squeeze it back together, see if I can find a little vise, and then just leave it. And then I am going to also walk away from it for the weekend, because yeah, it's nothing, no point doing something when you're annoyed with it. Not going to make it any better, not going to prep it any better at least. So we'll do better just to leave it alone and come back with a fresh set of eyes, a fresh brain, and relaxed after a weekend with the family. So that's what I am going to do. Get that back in, get it back together. Oh no, that actually looks worse than I first thought, because that looks like there's a gap. One of the bits that's come out is actually important. That bit. No. Everything about it's bad. Anyone watching going, God, Andrew's terrible at puzzles, you would be correct. Although, I used to be competent, but that seems to have all run away of late. I don't seem to do enough of them. But yeah, this is about as bad as a bit of prep as I have done in a fair old while. So I do apologise that you've all had to bear witness to this. Yes, I would say shocking show. Even if I can get all the bits back tight together, I think what I have done there is guarantee that the ammonite's knackered on the inside now. I can't even get it to click together nicely. Oh, good. 8-bit video, perfect timing. In a second. Yeah, it might just have to be at this point. I think you're right, Trevor. It would have been best to left overnight. It is, I think, knackered now, because it is. I have been impatient with it. It is a bit of personal failure on trying to just rush things along a bit too fast, and it happens. And I apologize for the 8-bit video. My camera doesn't want to reset itself, and I'm going to have to turn it all the way off and all the way back on. So yeah, it's just going to be great time. But I think at that point it might just be best put it all the way down, and yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to get that all back together, because that for some reason doesn't want to click back in. There's something loose in there that's blocking it all up. And so something's stopping it coming back together cleanly. And it might just be that every once in a while when they break, they somehow open a tiny gap that just never seems to want to close, and I don't understand how they can do that. But yeah, I know. So let's see if I can swing you to the second camera, and then you can see something that's not retro. Well, maybe. I'm a bit retro, I guess, getting old. Yeah, it happens. It's frustrating, it's self-inflicted, it's part of the learning process. You're not going to get them all right, and sometimes fossils break, but we'll learn, we'll do better. So thanks for the kind words, everyone. It's not the end of the world, thankfully. It's an LE block. We get LEs not uncommonly on the coast, so part and parcel of it. But it's also why we're doing the streaming. It's to be honest about my many failures when it comes to the fossil prep. I am not perfect at it. I am still very much learning. I have a lot of hours to do. So yeah, it happens. Next time we'll glue it and leave it a lot longer. I wish when I had first seen that fracture open, when I first glued it, just put it down and left it, and then we might have been okay. But who knows? We'll have to do better next time. But yeah, I think I'm going to call it there for today, because obviously having a bit of a moment with this one and then the Hildy shortly thereafter, and having a bad center on the Paranoceros, I think it's just going to be one of those prep days. So let's be sensible about it and just put it all down, and yeah, we'll come back next week and do a bit of a better job. So yeah, thanks all for being here. We will be back, as I said, next week. I don't have any tours, so I'll be around hopefully 4 or 5 days next week and do some more things. So if people have any preference for things I prep, I've got a bit of middle layer stuff, I've got some upper layer, a lot of upper layer stuff, but I'll have a rummage of some things, and yeah, you can all make some suggestions for things to try and prep next week if you are interested in coming along. Yeah, I will now read chat. I apologize, I can't read chat and look at the camera at the same time. I'm over there somewhere. But yeah, a big thank you as always for being here. We will be back, as I said, next week. So yeah, big thank you for everyone for watching. Sorry for the quality of the preps at the end. It's hopefully makes you all feel better about yours when it goes wrong. It happens, and yeah, it's frustrating when it happens, but at the same time, I'm not going to force it. I'm going to fight it. I'm not going to be upset about it for too long. Life is too short to be worrying about it. When it goes wrong, we learn, we do better next time. Hope everyone has a fantastic weekend. I hope those of you near wildfires, wherever they may be, North America or Wales, England, wherever, are safe. I hope that you get all of the fires under control and your air quality improves. I hope everyone has a great weekend, and I hope there's lots of fun fossils in it for you all. Cheers, thanks for watching, and yeah, we will see you next time.